Hey everyone, this is a history extra. If you want to know a little bit more about the topic or if you want to really exceed at your debating, you kind of have to have a full picture of what's going on. Just like how Sarah explained the background of GMOs, kind of how they're formed, so we had a better idea of even how they break apart the DNA to form GMOs. We need to have a history or a background on this topic to fully understand why we're even talking about it. This is a little bit of an overload. Go ahead and skip to the next video where we talk about framework. But for now, I'm going to go into a little bit of history. So I think some of you have heard of the war on drugs. If you have not heard of the war on drugs, stop this video and Google it. Seriously, pause the video. Go Google it. War on drugs. Okay, so the war on drugs started around 70s, 80s, and people started really hammering down on the drug issue that we have in America. And because of that, the prison population exploded. And from the research that you just did, you probably learned that we had to find a place for this explosion of people to go. So one of the things that the government decided to do was contract with private companies so that they were able to house inmates who are coming in on these drug charges. Because judges, police officers, prosecutors came together and decided to really be hard on anyone that came forward with any sort of drugs, they had this crazy amount of people that they had to house in these prisons. So if you actually go to page 9 in your foundation briefs, they give you some more statistics on what I'm talking about. So I'm directing you to page 9 of your foundation briefs. And this is straight from the Rio Grande Foundation, which is a New Mexico-based research institute from 2014. Oh, excuse me, it was Access 2014. It was from March of 2003. So just to give you an idea of what I mean by an exploding population, they say that the federal and state criminal statutes, particularly those dealing with drugs, were also strengthened and law enforcement budgets redoubled. Between 1982 and 1999, the federal government increased its police expenditure, meaning they added more police to the force and were able to spend more money on the police forces by 485%. So that's approximately $40 billion on the war on drugs alone. Over the same period, states increased their police power and expenditures by 239%. Both trends outpaced inflation and overall growth in government spending by a wide margin. So the prison population exploded. Between 1980 and 1999, the U.S. prison population grew 15 times faster than the population at large. This means that the prison population was growing faster than people were being born. So the actual population of humans increased by less than the number of humans that were being put in jail. So less people were born than people were put in jail, which is a lot. It's a crazy amount of people being put in jail. So, as you can imagine, there was overcrowding, the prison couldn't hold on. So, in 1983, 1/5 of all state and federal prisons were accredited by the Commission of Accreditation for Corrections. So they had to start to look at how they were going to deal with overcrowding, and that's when they started to look into connecting with businesses. So by 2001, private prison population had over 91,000 inmates. Again, think about that on your pro-con list. If we ban private prisons, where do those 91,000 inmates go? If we keep private prisons, are those 91,000 inmates really getting what they need or what they should have? That's what we need to consider. So that's just a little bit of data for you. If you go on to page 10, there's a little bit more like statistics for you on how many people are in private prisons versus how many people are in public prisons. And I think you'll be surprised to see that it's about half and half. So I want you to take a look at those numbers on page 10, just for your own background and maybe something that you could use in a contention or some background information that you could use for yourself. So this is your history extra, and the next video will go on to our framework.